Struggling to find a lighting setup that will make your portfolio stand out and make it unique? Sick of the same 3-point lighting that you've been doing for such a long time now that creates no depth and no shadow on your subjects? Well, what if I told you that was this lighting setup that I use to help transform my work for the better? Which is a great balance between the high key look that you're going for right now and that more cinematic and dramatic look that you've been looking for. Let's get into it. Hello everyone, my name is Joe, welcome to the Genius of Joe, and today we'll be discussing lighting. Specifically, that one lighting setup that I have used to help transform my portrait photography for the better. And that can transform your work if you copy this. Before we get into it, sorry guys, I'm not using a Rode mic today, I got a different mic because my Rode mic is not with me at the moment, so I'm using a shotgun mic. So sorry if the audio sounds a bit different, and I'm inside this time just so I don't get any wind from when I was in the park or anything. So yeah, let's get back into it. Once I've gained your trust, top links in the description is my one-to-one portrait photography coaching, where we go on multiple calls a week. I critique your portrait photography work and just give you any photography advice that I've gained over multiple years of experience so you can get it right from the start and not waste any time. So if you're interested, again, top links in the description for more information, but I will talk about this more at the end of the video. Okay, so what is that lighting setup? It's surprisingly simple as fuck actually. It's a 2-light setup with one soft key light at a higher angle to give off that Rembrandt lighting being the triangle on the cheek of the subject. This lighting technique will create so much more depth than your typical beauty lighting that you see a lot with like no shadows, but it isn't too exaggerated where it obscures the face too much. It's like just that right amount of shadow and light. And you want the second light to be a hard light source from directly behind the subject to create that glow around your subject that will separate them from the background and in turn create more depth. And that's really it. So that's really it. I would end the video here, guys, and goodbye. No. But one great thing about this is it's very customizable. So I've used a plethora of different lights to act as my key light. I've used the Amaran F22C, so something more expensive. I've used something more cheaper, like the Nanlite 60B. I've used my strobes. I've used everything. Also, you don't have to follow this exactly the way I told you, so you don't need to have a soft light as the key. You could have the key light as a hard light source. So for example, with me, I've used strobes as that key light. I've used it as, obviously I've used it with a softbox, but I've also used it without the softbox. And I've also used light panels, which are harder light sources. Also, you don't have to use Rembrandt lighting. I just suggest Rembrandt lighting because I think that looks the most creative and the most unique. But if you want to, you can use something, you can bring the light down a bit and use it more as a loop lighting. Loop lighting is a more subtle roll off between the light and the shadow side of the model's face. Also, the backlight doesn't have to be placed directly behind the subject, but it could be placed a bit higher up as more of a top light, which I've also done. But I would suggest keeping the backlight as a hard light source, as if you want to keep that glow and that exaggerated look, soft lighting will not really do that, as it's not directional enough and it isn't saucy enough really to give that same glow effect. I've done shoots where I have used like a Amaran F22C or anything with a softbox as a backlight, and you don't really notice it. Like, it's there, you can see that it's lit, but it's not that noticeable. It's more of a subtle, like, fill light in a way. So, and obviously if you want to get that glow, you won't be able to do that with soft lighting. You need to use something hard, something harsh. This lighting setup is so universal, as I always see myself coming back to it on every photo shoot I do. And if you want to step it up a notch, you can use lens filters, specifically Pro Mist filters. And this will exaggerate the backlight glow even more and soften out the skin tones even more, which will make the subject look more flattering, which who doesn't want their subject to be more flattering? Come on, guys. I personally use the Prism Lens FX Moody FX filter, which is quite a strong Pro Mist filter, but obviously you can use other ones with weaker strengths with more subtle effects. With the Moody FX filter, it also has this starburst effect, which basically flares up any of the brightest parts of the images and creates a star-like looking effect on those brightest parts of the images. That explains like these flares in my photos, just in case you're wondering. And if you decide to buy one of their products, I actually have my own discount code and affiliate link that you can use if you decide to buy one of their products, which I'll put in the description and in the pinned comment below. This lighting setup is great for literally any studio photo shoot, and if you want to add more lights, feel free to do so. This is just a great starting point. Another tip that I'll add to enhance that more cinematic look is to shoot on the shadow side of the model's face, meaning physically placing you and the camera on the shadow side of the model's face and composing it where the shadow side is the most prominent. This is what we call short lighting, where we light on the side of the subject which is furthest away from the camera. So if you're shooting on the right side of the face, make sure to have your key on the left side of the face, and then vice versa. Again, this creates so much more depth in your photos, and it's surprising how many photographers don't do this, even though cinematographers in the film world do this stuff all the time. Like every film you see, they're almost every time they're shooting on the shadow side of their faces, if you notice that. So next time you watch a film, notice how every shot, if there is shadow in the shot, the camera is always on the shadow side of the model's the actor's face. So I don't know why we don't copy them, as they're the ones who literally created the cinematic look. Are you a portrait photographer looking to enhance your skills and to stand out to the rest of the industry? Well, I can definitely help you with that. I now offer one-to-one monthly portrait photography coaching, where we go on multiple calls a week. I critique your portrait photography work, and I'll just give you any photography advice that I've gained over multiple years of experience, so you can get it right from the start and waste no time. It's a monthly subscription, so if you don't feel comfortable committing to a 1 month plan just yet, you can book individual one-to-one calls with me, where we basically go over the same thing. I critique your work, and it's basically like a taste tester of what it's going to be like if I actually coached you full time. So if you're interested, top links in the description where you can see out even more information, and let's get talking. Let's accelerate your portrait photography progress. Anyway guys, that is it for the video. Thank you for watching. Let me know in the comments below, what do you guys think of this lighting setup, and tell me if you've tried this setup already or if you're going to try it, and just tell me how it goes. Did the photos turn out good? Did they turn out shit? Is my advice awful? I don't know, whatever. Do whatever you want. Click on any of these videos to learn more about portrait photography, and I'll see you next time guys.